commodities and morticians. Sign my petition, please. Tendencies with the densest water, head out the desert. Maybe rent religiously and find it's still not saved. House for instead of that for the kingdom for oxymorotic icons. That mortician, iconic for more defiant, worthy for flying. Free throws, line glide, find James name, decline gently per score. Score some names, games to that one, that day for the quarter for this. Any numbers without the lotto numbers, the sneakers and lockers. Engage that for the padlocker crib. Padlocks that keep the windows you find winded. Windows that widows. Why do that, not the one. Hold that tax break, that kid. Just break me off a piece of that. Have the cat, the drunk, that for the tabs, that for the station for the rate. State the rations and rates. Fat that for the fate. Ate that for the rates. Malnourish your fate. Gates to that side of the syllables and never lower the haiku. Simples to simplified, simple solutions. Salute that loom. Eliminate ill and immature inmates. Mating patterns in the end of the durator. War proposing red arrows, head water. Bottles that baby Jessica well. Off with the Fargo well. Fargo horse that shit. Who forgot our horseman? Yell at the horse ghost that wrote that note for the silver the line that line of shores. I'll be sure before the unibrow browsers off that mouse pad. Peers of class and ask that key. Don't he too like you in the pause of pause. Flaws made flawless to be lawless, like stealing from Marshalls and Mall. This list of malice and witness me the balance of the weather, the place to find a place to lay. Dry food for thought, Yahweh make to play for titanus and testicles and place of paper to palate. Insubordinate to coordinate. Pile with the palette for the late for the heap, pile that for the prayers and naysayers, and not the day for the date. Delegate, you'll deliver that delivery gate. Deliver that the liquor for the latch, you know. Fine areas to the rackets and racket. The love on your tennis shoes. It's title letters to take away for you. They walked to 2 left feet, no mates, no match, no flame. Name again to the game. Glamour for the beef for you cattle. Catastrophic stroking, you strike that pose. Supposed position, hold. Opposites at sights and aim. Portions. Number 8. Time of my life, for the time of my life, I have that. For the time, of my life, for the time 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 of my life, I have that. For the reason why you can understand. Maybe this will be the place where I can lend you my ear. For the circumstances, not to take an advantage. This is more than course. This, of course, these be the facts that we are together for the one thing you cannot afford to not pay attention for this to buy time to get exchanged that their ex rivals who played the part. Discipline liable to take upon the number of the times that tables got turned for the DJs got burned for like the Air Jordans and Hell's Angels for the Anglo Saxons. The phones not answer for the humble, the phonies and teleport for the angels. The port of poor tables who finally able to stand their weight for the waits for the no table to stall. Beef cable for the cabs and trains, that for the trains. Maintain tame for the point of the finger for the aim. Miss the mark for the positive for the gospel. These are the words that talk for the play for the cast the spell. Play the part for these to be the permanent. Spelling B for the currently just to adjust to be. Be the one for the E for the hear me now. For the feature for the passive 5G. Internet for the delivery. 111 with it was like the 11 with the added the E. Death before the crisis, that was the E. The B, the martyrs, and down to the daughters of the mercy. The emergence and emerging. An emergency for the blind. The C there for the ICU for the intensive care units for the white decided to vow. Unity for the seer for the C and the Charles. And Charles for the Charlie Sheens. And just the trust is lead to speak to beat. Ecology. Ecological for the econs, icons, constitute your constancies, tested for the contested, for the content, for the squatting real estate, for the mind state that was stated for the dead, and that for the wind, open your houses and without the dancing floor, the hells and the finest shoes and floors, and the souls, the finest shoes, and that's a rich itch and enter in for the pitch, fabricated for the salt, for the seas, these be the breeze. That for the shores is surely bank of the nose to shell the guys and carbon emission for the states of that. The mission statement for the sovereign, for the we would be over the brains and mayor, Rudolph over the nosing over the nose and down the senior rain for dear to beloved for the blind date, Canada for the Gregorian gore, story that with the actor commercial for the break, America comedy, calamity for the conglomerate for the ratings and ratting out the people for the cheese and preposterous preponderance. Prep that for the dinner, for the piece that pepperoni, for the use of teeth to bite the truth, the trunks, you have to find the lunch tabs, the tables, and staple the people together. For the time of my life, I have that. For the reason why you. For the time of my life. For the time. 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 For the time of my life, I have that. For the reason. For the time. For the time of my life, I have that. For the time of my life. For the time of my life, I have that. For the time of my life, I have that. For the reason why you could understand. Maybe this would be the place where I can lend you my ear. The circumstances. Not to take the facts. This is the facts that we are together for the one. Not pay attention for this. Time to get exchanged after your ex. Rivals who played the part. This be liable to take upon the number of the times that tables got turned for the DJs got burned for like the Air Jordans and Hell's Angels for the Hanglos Saxes. Phone not answer for the humble, the phone is in teleport for the angels, supportive poor labels who finally able to stand and waits for the no tape of the stall. Beef cable for the cabs and trains, that for the trains. Maintain tame for the pointing the finger for the aim. Miss the mark for the positive of the gospel. These are the words that talk for the play for the cast and spell. Play the part for these to be the permanent. Spill the B for the current, they just to adjust to be. Be the one for the E for the hear me now. For the feature for the pass and 5G. Internet for the delivery. 111 with it was like the added the E. Death before the Christ, that was the E. The me, the martyrs, and death for the daughters and the mercy. Emergence and emerging, and emergency for the blind. The C there for the ICU for the intensive care units for the white side of the cloud. Unity for the C for the C, the Charles, and Charles, and for the Charlie Sheens, and use the trust and spleen to speak to me. Ecology, ecological for the econs, icons, constitute your constantly. Testing for the contestant, for the content, for the squatting, real estate for the mind state, devastated for the dead, and that for the winter, and the houses without the dancing floor, the hills, and the divided shoes and floors in front of the souls, and fire the shoes, and that's a rich, itching into for the pitch. Fabricated for the salt for the seas, these for the reeds. That for the shores of Syria, making the noise and shell the gas and carbon emission for the state of death, the mission statement for the surfer, for the we with me over the brains and mayor, the nosing over the nose and death, the sting the rain, for dear to beloved for the blinded, Canada for the Gregorian gourd, the story that with the actor commercial for the break, American comedy, calamity for the conglomerate for the rating scene, ratting out the people for the cheese for preposterous preponderance, prep that for the dinner for the piece that pepperoni for the use of teeth to bite the chew, the trunks, you have to find the lunch tabs and tables and staple the people together. aggressions, control, confessions, and conflict. We concede the complex, the way life is decidedly rather than done. Most importantly, animals, the garden of space and energy. Spirit seeking harmony through love and intention, innovative and inventive. Krishna, the sun anointed, crosses the point of honor and merit. Period. Departing blind to seas and seas of transatlantic. Atlantis removing the African for the God within her sacred body. Indigenous of the origin to be the virtues and not the Virgo. Vigorous to the vigilante for the vigilance of the imperialism. Commit to communism for the segregation of the community. Commencing your unity for the divine intentions and not hurt. Self, others, love, self, most high
Y'all ain't get mad at that. God is resourceful, gives us all the resources we need, rich in the spirituality, morality with the unity, thrive to sustain, integrity for the longevity on earth as in heaven. Our art is no difference if you know you are. Don't hype the hypocrisy considering con man conditions, control confessions and conflict. We concede the complex, the way of life is decidedly rather than done. Most importantly, animals, the garden of space and energy, the spirit seeking harmony through love and intentions, are innovative and inventive. Krishna, the sun anointing, across is the point of honor and merit. And purity, depart the blind to seas and seas the transatlantic. Atlantis removing the Africa for the God within her sacred body. Indigenous of the origin to be the virtues and not your Virgo. Vigorous to the vigilante for the vigilism for the imperialism is imperial. Commit to communism for the segregation community. Commencing your unity for the divine intentions and not hurt. Self, others, love of self. Most high creator, source. Sun, light will sustain self to see. Dear the far side of the source behind the forehead and forefathers. Past empires to generations not to be lost or founded. Found dead seeking this is life, John Jackson, man of prophecy. Stand before proposed propaganda for the genesis of the stems themselves. Mind that an institutionalized and incriminate your faith for the fair to arrest if transgressions agreed aggressively. Acts of course of this the courtship for the converted to corrupt. Disruption and distractions, and this would be the part of your liberation. Attract that a lack of the focus of the hocus spells that prevent your independence. Free for the demeaning yet exploitation for the nations in two regions. Religion and realignment for the meaning applies to applications. Light for the righteousness of the humankind and questionable the current events. Currency. Dependence on the substance of the ignorance by your oxymoronic exposure for the modern and evolving daughters and concepts that reveals the revolution and constitution. Where do you into the intuitive power for the numbers of the this be the lesser than intuitive additives. Subtract attractions. Ignorance and offer the benevolence for the violence and the liars and stand up for the lie down with us the land is ours and have no rights but this righteousness. Conducted on and what it was only for the developing the contractions were all complete in the siphon for the circumference. Without fences there's no need for your defenses. No senses is sense adapted in unison, divided for the attention attracting your attributes of retribution and rebuttals. It was a subtle approach, but God is resourceful. Yahweh is that light that shines in me. See the darkness and I will never be that for the bear to be. For this there's so much that I can find to look up to when the field for the sun to raise. To pray the soul for the cannot starve that heart. Allow your communion for the daily bread and bodies to meet the thunder the hunger for the beast to be the fed up. Federation to the adoration to be converted for the completely compensated for the Satan to start that and died and dead. You can't sever that lies and separately eaten forgave. God gave that, begotten began. Revelation to reveal the pages of Genesis and emphasis on the generations and rations. The body for the water to fish and out the bacon be never forsaken forsakes down for the ever taken forever. Now it's fame, blood for the lamb, clean us from Satan, hate, heading to heaven on worship plate, never sinking countertops to dish out the insinuator for the alleviate those who was distracting for the elevated for the 11 divine genetically incinerated, constipated, or constituted to believe in the bill of righteousness. The third eyesight for the senses are infinite, for the dimensions are never dim lit, for this to be the constellations illuminated for the foresight and forgiveness. God is resourceful, gives us all the resources we need, rich in the spirituality, morality with the unity, thrive to sustain integrity for the longevity on earth as in heaven. Our art is no difference if you know you are. Don't hype the hypocrisy considering con man conditions, control confessions and conflict. We concede the complex, the way of life is decidedly rather than done. Most importantly, animals, the garden of space and energy, the spirit seeking harmony through love and intentions, and innovative and inventive. Krishna, the sun anointing, the cross is appointed with honor and merit and purity. Depart the blind seas and seas the transatlantic. Atlantis removing the Africa for the God within her sacred body. Indigenous of the origin to be the virgins and not the Virgo. Vigorous to the vigilante for the vigilism for the imperialism. Is imperial. Commit to communism for the segregation community. Commencing your unity for the divine intentions and not hurt. Self, others, love of self. Most high creator, source. Sun, light will sustain self to see. Dear the far side of the source behind the forehead and forefathers. Past empires to generations not to be lost or founded. Found dead seeking this is life, John Jackson.